In this video, let us learn very important topic, that is accounting for share capital, and one definite question we will get for 12 marks in class 12th board exam. So let us see what it means. Accounting for share capital, what do you mean by shares? Everything let us learn in this video. First one. So as we know that there are five forms of organization, which means if you want to start your business, you can have five different kinds of ownership. One is forms of organization. This topic already we studied in class 11, forms of organization. Totally we have five forms here. One is sole trading concern. Sole trading concern. Second one is partnership firm. HUF, Hindu Undivided Family. And fourth one is cooperative societies. Cooperative societies. And last one is societies. And last one is we have joint stock company. We have joint stock company. So our chapter is all about joint stock company. So sole trading concern is nothing but where one person will be managing business, means it is single owner business. One person is investing amount and starting business, sharing profit and losses, everything is managing, means that kind of business is called as sole trading concern. And if there is two or more people, we call it as partners. They are going to manage business, invest amount and share profit and losses, then it is called as partnership firm. In case any business is managed by family, means head of the family we call it as karta, and remaining members they will be supporting karta. So those kind of business we call it as HUF, Indo Undivided Family. And if more than 10 people they become members and they start their business for the welfare of each and everyone, then it is called as cooperative societies. And in case if business is started by collecting amount from public, we call it as shareholders, n number of shareholders, then those kind of organizations we call it as joint stock companies. Now let us see what you mean by joint stock company. Joint stock company is nothing but it is an artificial person. It is an artificial person, artificial person created by law, created by law, having a perpetual succession, having a perpetual succession with a common seal, with a common seal, with a common seal. That organization is called as joint stock company. Joint stock company. So this is the meaning of joint stock company. It is an artificial person created by law. So any organization we call it as personal nature, artificial person, and having a perpetual succession. Having a perpetual succession is nothing but it is like a endless. So death of one or two shareholders will not result in winding up a business. So other members they will continue, like board of directors we can call, with a common seal. Here common seal will act as a signature of the company. So those kind of voluntary association we call it as joint stock company. Then let us see various features of joint stock company. What are the various features of company? So various features of company, features here. First one is nothing but it is a artificial person, artificial person. Second one is perpetual succession, perpetual succession. And next one is common seal, common seal. And next one is limited liability. It is very important, limited liability. And last one is transferability, transfer of shares. Shares are ownership we can call. So these are the various features of joint stock company. If you want to consider any organization as joint stock company under various forms of organizations, those organizations should consisting of these features. Then only we can call it as company. Now let us learn one by one here. First one is artificial person. See, artificial person is nothing but, so any organization which is created by law, then that organization we can call it as artificial person. It can act as a person. It can purchase land on its name. It can enter into contracts on its name. For example, let me take Canara Bank. Canara Bank purchased land on Canara Bank's name, as well as it can enter into the contract on the name of Canara. Then, perpetual succession. As we know that there are n number of board of directors, n number of board of directors as well as shareholders. For example, with the death of one person will not result in closing of business. Remaining people, they will continue the business. But it is not applicable to sole trading concern because only one person will be managing business. So with the death of that person, that business will going to wind up. Then, common sin. See here, being an artificial person, it can't sign like human beings. So it can't speak, it can't sign. So what we do here, that common sin of that company we consider as a signature of the company. Then, limited liability. See, limited liability is nothing but where in a business losses arise means whether it is impacting on personal property of members or whether it will limited to their investment. There it differs. For example, let me give an example here. Let me take, there is a one sole trading concern. So Mr. A invested 1 lakh rupees. Mr. A invested 1 lakh rupees into his business, but in that business total loss incurred is 3 lakh. He has invested only 1 lakh rupees, but in his business, due to some reasons, totally 3 lakh rupees loss incurred. Though his investment is 1 lakh, so he has to cover 3 lakh rupees of loss because this business belongs to him and he is the only person who will share profit as well as losses. Then he has to sell his personal properties. Then remaining of 2 lakhs, shortage of 2 lakh rupees, he need to cover it out of his personal property. He should sell it and he should use it for his business loss. Then it is called as unlimited liability. Any losses in business, if it is impacting on sale of his personal property, then those kind of liability we call it as unlimited liability. But in case of joint stock company, if we are taking, for example, I have invested 1 lakh rupees on Infosys. Let me take Infosys here. If I have invested 1 lakh rupees on Infosys, in Infosys company, let me take, there is a loss of 3 lakh rupees. So I have invested only 1 lakh. In case 3 lakh rupees loss means I no need to pay remaining 2 lakh rupees of loss because my liability is limited till 1 lakh. So maximum I may lose 1 lakh. I no need to sell my personal property and I no need to face this 2 lakh rupees. So if my liability towards losses is limited towards only up to my investment, then it is called as limited liability. In joint stock company, members' liability is limited till their investment. And next one is transfer of shares. Transfer of shares are nothing but here whether you are permitted to transfer your ownership. For example, if I am having partnership firm, easily I can't transfer my ownership. But if I am having shares of Infosys, in a share market, I can easily sell my shares to someone. Then I can transfer my ownership to someone easily. So joint stock company, it permits me to transfer my shares as well as my ownership to someone. So easily I can purchase as well as sell my shares here. These are the various features of joint stock company. So till now we discussed what are the various forms of organization of ownership. What do you mean by joint stock company? And if you want to consider any organization as joint stock company, what are the various features it should include? Now let us see. If I want to start my joint stock company, what are the various where I can raise funds? First one, for rising funds to start my company, usually we will be having two options here. One is own funds, and second one is borrowed funds. So these are the two types of options, two options we'll be having to raise funds and start my business. First one is own funds. Own funds are nothing but my savings. So being a owner, you will be having certain amount, so he can use that amount and he can start his business. And if whatever amount available in his hands is not enough, means he can go for asking his friends, or he can go for getting funds from banks. Means if he is collecting money from outsider, if he is raising funds from others, then that is called as borrowed funds or outsiders funds. If he is using funds whatever he is having, then it is called as own funds. Then, so own funds, if I am starting my business, if I am using my amount, then I will become owner. Actually, in joint stock company, shareholders are called as real owners of the business, which means, so if you are issuing shares to public and if you are collecting money from public, then that person will become shareholder and he will become real owner of the company. Now let us see what you mean by shares. For example, let me take one cake is there. Let me take one cake is there, and what I am doing, I am making 6 pieces here, and each piece value is 20 rupees. Then into 6 means, if I am selling these 6 pieces to public, I will receive totally 120 rupees. Just like this, for example, if I want to start my business, I may require 120 rupees. Then what I do, I am going to issue 6 shares or certificates to 6 people at the rate of 20 rupees. Then I will collect totally 120 rupees. I am going to issue each piece to public, means each share certificate to public, that is 6 shares, and I will collect 20 rupees each. Then totally I will receive 120 rupees. Out of this I am going to start my business. So total amount collecting from issuing shares, that total amount is called as share capital. Share capital. So total amount collected through issuing shares to public, the total amount is called as share capital. Or else, amount collected by company or business through issuing shares to the public is called as share capital. So issuing shares, issue of shares to public, whatever amount I will receive, that amount is called as share capital here. Then, out of total share capital, the single part or one piece of total share capital is called as shares. So I can say shares are the share in the share capital. Shares are the share in the share capital is called as shares. A small part of the total share capital. Part of share capital is called as shares. So single piece or one part of total share capital is called as shares. Then let us see how many types of shares we have. So basically we have two types here. One is equity shares, and second one is preference shares. So we have two types of shares here. One is equity shares and second one is preference shares. So if you want to raise funds to start your business, you can issue shares to the public and you can collect money, that is called as share capital. So while issuing shares, you are having two options. You can go for issuing equity shares, or else you can go for issuing preference shares. Then let us learn what is the difference between equity shares and preference shares. First one we have here preference shares. First one we have preference shares. As name itself says, preference shares are nothing but these are the shares which are having preferential rights. Which are having preferential rights to receive dividends on the amount invested and redemption of shares or repayment on shares, to collect repayment amount on the preference shares. So they will be having first importance of preferential rights to receive dividends, which means, so before paying dividends to someone, first we need to pay to preference shareholders. And at the time of closing of your business, before paying to before settling to equity shareholders, first you need to settle down preference shareholders, and if any amount remains, then that amount will be paid to equity shareholders. So preference shareholders, they will be having preferential rights to collect dividends as well as invested amount. Then let me tell you what do you mean by equity shares. Equity shares. Actually, shares and equity shareholders are called as real owners of the business. Real owners of the company, because they will be having right to participate in management meetings as well as decisions. Participation they can do. So whenever management like board of directors or any meetings are going on, they can participate in that meetings and they can give their opinions. They can take place in that meetings and they can give opinions. So they will be having participation rights, and they can go for voting rights. Voting rights. So usually these two benefits enjoyed by equity shareholders, and in case of more profits, they will receive more dividends. So, but where preferences, their rate of dividends will be fixed usually. For example, 10% means each year 10% of dividends they will get on the invested amount. But in case of equity shareholders, if there is 1 lakh rupees of profit means they may receive 1000 rupees. In case they are having 2 lakh means they may receive 20,000. If there is a profit of 3 lakhs means they